House of Villains, Season 2, Episode 4. So remember Camila put up Richard, Wes, and Safari? But Victoria was able to take Wes off the hit list because she had the knock blocker advantage. And she replaced Wes with Jesse, a.k.a. Peck. So Jesse's on Victoria's ass. He's like, we should have got rid of her instead of Larissa. She's in my room and she put me up for no reason. She's fake. New York is telling Camila that she's proud of her because she showed everyone her wrath. And Camila was like, I am going to sit down with Wes and just let him know that at the end of the day, I'm playing a game. But I know New York is happy because she like, oh, finally another villain who really is spicy and got the type of attitude I got. That makes New York less of a threat and less of a target and makes Camila more of a threat and more of a target. Like, it puts them on an even playing field where people always thought New York was like worse than Camila. Victoria waking up and coming to New York and telling her, oh, what happened to your hair? It's a different color today. Was a fucking microaggression because you knew that shit was a wig, bitch. New York said, girl, I gotta switch these and swap them out every 6 days. They gotta get washed. Camila tried to hug Richard and tell him it's real love and it's unconditional. He was like, fuck you, Camila. But he said it in his confessional. He didn't say it to her face. So Wes asked Camila to come outside and talk to him. And she basically lied and said that I was misdirecting the house so that they don't really know where my alliances are. I'm trying to play the game. But Camila was really doing what she was supposed to do because the three biggest threats in the house are Wes, Richard, and then it's a question mark between Safari, New York, maybe Peck, maybe Candy, maybe Camila. But for sure, the weakest players of the house are Victoria, Teresa, and Larsa. So Camila knows she took a shot and missed. So hopefully she don't try to trust Wes no more because he basically saying if they do get back on good terms, he's still going to be looking for vengeance. He's not going to get over this. And then you got Safari who also wants to get back at Camila, and Safari and Wes are working together. So it's not looking good for Camila. Victoria really gets on my nerves, but I do feel empathy for her because she did tell us that her mom passed away when she was 1 year old. Her mom had cancer, so she grew up without a mom. That's going to make your life a little more rough, and a lot of us don't know what that's like. So New York and Victoria were talking about what they would do with the money. Victoria said that she would open a Pilates studio and pay off her tickets. Candy, messy ass, goes downstairs. They always say the messiest person you know is a man. And starts telling everybody, oh, how old is Victoria again? And somebody said 31, too old to be having parking tickets. How you got Louboutins, but you don't got your bills paid. So now everybody's talking about Victoria and what she gonna do with the money. But it's all starting from Candy eavesdropping and going downstairs with it. And when she came downstairs, Candy tried to say, how you doing? And she was like, not so great. Like, let me check you. Don't try to say how you doing when you was just popping shit about me. Because you thought I couldn't hear you. Victoria used to do OnlyFans. She quit because she said it wasn't in alignment with who she was anymore. And that's when she started having money problems and not being able to afford stuff. But my whole thing is like, girl, if you knew you didn't want to go back and get a regular job, why didn't you save your OnlyFans money and do something else with it? Turn it into a Pilates business, like you said. Like, I don't know. Victoria does come off very spoiled. Now they're all getting in these two cars. They're telling them it's 5 and 5. Victoria doesn't want to get in the car. She's trying to tell Candy to get in the back or she's going to get car sick. Candy is saying, I physically can't get back there. Like, I think he's saying he's too big. And then Safari's like, she's not coming over here. There's already 5 of us in here. We're not about to be packed up like sardines because Victoria wants to have a tantrum, especially because Victoria just told me to shut the fuck up last night. So they get to their next challenge. They're looking around for Joel, like, what are we here for? And Bobby pops up talking about, I'm back, bitches. So the challenge is called Body Snatchers, and Bobby is here to host it. So there's a maze, and it has 3 blow-up dolls in the center of it. And each one of the dummies represents Safari, Richard, or Peck. So this is their redemption challenge to see who gets off of the hit list. Whoever's able to get their dummy out of the middle of the maze in the fastest time will get off the hit list. But the catch is that they could get electrocuted or shocked throughout this maze. And they are going to be blindfolded, but they get to choose one person to be a lookout for them to help guide them through the maze. Safari chooses Wes as his lookout and Rich chooses Candy. Jesse doesn't really have any close alliances. I mean, it does seem like he's close to Safari and Wes, but I just saw earlier in this episode they were saying that they didn't care about who went home. So he ends up choosing Larsa and hoping that she'll help him. So Richard already got his dummy and Jesse already got his dummy. Larsa and Candy did their thing as guides. Wes is supposed to be Safari's closest alliance, and he's not being nowhere near as good of a guide as Candy or Larsa was. And I feel like he knows how to do this. So is he doing this on purpose? So Safari had the slowest time, 4 minutes and 16 seconds. He's definitely still on the hit list. Now the time between Jesse and Richard was only 6 seconds apart. And Jesse had the fastest time with 1 minute and 50 seconds. Larsa says that she hopes that Jesse will help her if she ever needs help in the game going forward, and I feel like he will. Now, if they smart between Richard and Safari, the house is going to vote out Richard. He won Survivor. Safari's from Love and Hip Hop. Also, just now in this redemption challenge, Richard almost got himself off the hit list if he was just 6 seconds faster. Safari completely lost the challenge. He's not a threat. The only threat of Safari is that he's very messy and manipulative. New York is super happy. She said Rich and his Prince Albert need to get going. Larsa said on Survivor, Richard got bit by a shark. And instead of him screaming or fighting to get off the shark, he bit the shark back. She said that's a very dangerous person, in my opinion. She said, love you, Richard, but you gotta go. The producer said, do you really love Richard? Larsa said, no. So Bobby came back to hang out with them at the house, and he was talking about he was joining the competition. I know they was like, oh, hell no. But he said he was joking. But he also exposed to the house, oh, yeah, I remember y'all first encounter on Scared Famous, New York and Safari. He said y'all went in the bathroom and had a one-on-one and was showing each other stuff. What? I might have to go rewatch Scared Famous because I don't really remember. I just remember that Safari was definitely pursuing Erica on that show, and he was also flirting with New York. But Erica and him ended up getting serious. So Safari walked in the room that Larsa, Victoria, and Camila was in, and Victoria tried to like put her hand out on Safari like, hey, I haven't seen you all day. And he was like, girl, don't talk to me, because she just told him to shut the fuck up yesterday. But at the beginning of the show, she was on Safari dick. So I really don't know what happened. I guess she realized she wasn't going to get no loyalty out of it from him. But Victoria was like, okay, well, since you want to act like that, I'm definitely voting you out. And Safari said, I don't give a fuck. I'm not kissing your ass. Victoria trying to say Safari mad because he lost, but he been mad since before y'all got to that challenge. He was saying he don't fuck with you and he ain't want you in his car. And Safari had a point. He like, at the end of the day, I'm a man. I'm not about to curse you out. I've never cursed at you or disrespected you since we've been in this house. And you think you gonna tell me to shut the fuck up, not apologize, and then come to me the next day talking about, hey, like we're cool? And Safari said, guess what? If I go back home, I'm going to my 6-bedroom house on the water. You're going back to your speeding tickets. Ate her up real quick. So then Victoria started crying, talking about they always making fun of me and my financial health. Safari said, shut the fuck up playing victim. So Victoria is emotional and she goes downstairs because she's like, how can I turn this in my favor? So she goes downstairs with the tears and tries to get the rest of the house who didn't hear the argument upstairs to feel like, oh, Safari was just so rude to her and so disrespectful to her for no reason. Not mentioning that he's responding to you literally telling him to shut the fuck up the day before and then trying to come and smile in his face. I mean, we already know New York is going to vote Richard out. Victoria is going to vote Safari out. And then Jesse just said that he's going to vote Safari out because he doesn't like what Victoria did to him with Wes. You know, taking Wes off the hit list and putting him back on. So he said he wants to weaken Wes and Safari's alliance. So Wes is mad, telling Safari he's not being a good enough sociopath for him. He needs to go in there and apologize to Victoria because now he's messing up the vibes with everybody else. Everybody else is looking at Safari funny and they shouldn't be. Santana trying to flirt with Larsa, talking about he want to vibe with her outside of the show. Boy, bye. But basically, Safari's walking around the house working his magic outside of what he did to Victoria. Richard is kind of just sitting there and he's like, you know, I'm not about to beg for a vote. I don't want to kiss up. And Bobby was like, okay, I understand that, but make sure you don't tell them that when you go on stage to give your speech, because that's what New York did last season and it got her sent home. She was like, oh, I don't need a sympathy vote. I don't want a sympathy vote. I'm the most iconic villain here, so y'all need to keep me in the house. And they voted her out. But Rich is like, oh, F it. It's House of Villains. Bobby didn't even last that long. I'm going to be obnoxious. So you're going to be obnoxious along with being one of the literal biggest threats. You will not be here long, Richard. And Richard basically said he actually does need the money because when he won Survivor, he did get the $1 million check. But just a few months later, the IRS claimed that he was trying to evade taxes, which landed him in jail. So he said, I was in jail for 5 years and fighting legal battles for 20. So Victoria said she was making $10K a month from her OnlyFans. She's ready to open it back up. And Safari told Richard, well, even if you lose, you'll still be okay because you're a white man with blue eyes. You can get far with that. So it's almost time for the elimination ceremony. Camila's going in Richard and Safari room talking about, let me help you guys pack. I feel so bad. You better stop playing in their face. Because whichever one of them come back is on your ass. And Wes is still on your ass too. Safari didn't even apologize to Victoria. He just said, let me talk to you real quick. Called her in the room, started calling her cute and saying she's just being herself and she's not doing it on purpose. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to mail my parking tickets to your house. Like, Victoria, you better not be that stupid. Because he don't like you no more. He really never liked you like that, but even as a friend or an alliance, like, he don't like you. He just want to be safe right now. Camila got her whole ass out at the elimination ceremony, honey. So Joel asked Richard, did he have anything to say? He said, I really don't give a F about any of you, particularly New York. She's a pain in my ass and I can't stand being anywhere near her for more than 5 seconds. Then he said, everything I just said was not true, but we're in the House of Villains. This is not the place where I, a Survivor player, thought we would be making friends and that would be important. Then he said, this is a game and we're all playing, so do what's in your heart. Everybody was looking around confused. Teresa was like, that's not how you win votes. I don't know what the hell he's talking about right now. And Safari was like, well, everybody up here knows how I feel about them. I don't know how to be fake. And I'm just sitting here looking at everybody. And he started like crying behind his shades. Fake crying, in my opinion. And Victoria asked New York, like, is he fake crying? And New York was like, I don't see no tears. So... And he was like, I really feel like I got a connection with everybody in here. This is not going to be easy for me. And Camila was like, is he crying? Like, and Wes was like laughing. Victoria said, take off your glasses. Safari, you thought you was talking to Erica Mena or somebody? Larsa says, Safari needs to go to a better acting school. Sorry to break it to you. You're not the next Denzel with that performance. So they didn't show us all of the votes, but they did show us that Wes voted for Richard. And Joel ends up revealing that Richard was voted out and it was a unanimous decision. And Kandi said that Victoria came to him last minute and said, everybody's voting Richard out. And Kandi didn't want to be the only one trying to vote Safaree out. So he changed his vote last minute. Richard said he's not going to miss anybody in this house. And I'm not going to miss him either. New York is super excited. And I will see y'all next week for episode 5 of House of Villains. Bye.